Alright, peace, 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 my friend. So this is second portion of your reading, you feel me? So first and foremost, I definitely want to thank you for your patience, and understanding. Without further ado, let's definitely jump into the reading. So first and foremost, in this section we are going to talk about the different houses, you feel me, and their ruling signs. So you have your moon ruling over the first house, you feel me? And so with the moon ruling over the first house, family becomes of great importance. And you take family very personally, you feel me? Like, I very much see a lioness type energy, even we can say, where it's like very protective about family, or just family orientated one way or another, you feel me? Feeling like without family you would be nothing or whatever. So it's like, with that being said, with the first house being ruled by the moon, it's like the more you can attune yourself with the moon's energy, right? And the moon just doesn't deal with family, it also deals with, like, for example, the ancestors, or like magic, or like rituals, all these different things become very personal to you. And the dream world also has a great influence upon your personal life and your personality, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like it's of great importance for you to become conscientious and aware of your mind, of your emotional mind especially, and of your intuitive mind. And like, ultimately with the first house in Cancer, it's like you would benefit from understanding and knowing how to move emotionally, you know what I'm saying? How to move in that emotional body, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so like, also, I think I already pretty much said all that I needed to say, like, with the first house in Cancer, sometimes, an energy can play out where, like, you may take everything kind of serious, not serious, but personal. Because, Cancer is a sign that deals with the emotions and deals with the senses, is what I'm saying. So it's like, with that being said, first house in Cancer can be taking things, in a sense, to heart, when sometimes you shouldn't take things to heart. But furthermore, Cancer is ruled by, Cancer is ruled by the moon, but then is debilitated. It's ruled by the moon, is debilitated in Mars, and is exalted in Jupiter, right? Being ruled by the moon, naturally you're a type of person who is inclined more towards being comfortable and making sure that everyone around you is comfortable. Naturally you are going to be a nurturer, a mother, someone who wants to take care. Mars being debilitated in Cancer, though, this makes it in that, like, you're not really the confrontational type, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna look at your chart, I'm gonna look at the other things. But yeah, the first house, you're not really a confrontational type like that. You're the type of person who, you may like to, yeah, even like your fourth house, even your sun is in the fourth house. So you're not really the confrontational type. But you are the type to take things personal, even when they're not personal, you know what I'm saying? And that can be negative. That can be negative at times, you know what I'm saying? But furthermore, let's look deeper into your chart. So it's like, but that's pretty much like the first house. And so it's like, the more you can connect with your mind, the more you can connect with your emotional body, the more you can connect with your ancestors in the world of the higher plane. Right, so I was talking about Mars, and it doesn't really like confrontation. Cancer, but Cancer is exalted in Jupiter, and Jupiter is the planet that deals with the higher mind, higher intellect, and it's like, in order for you to tap into the higher mind, you do have to get your emotions in line and in order, is what I'm saying. And like, when Cancer becomes emotionally aligned and ordered, and it no longer allows itself to be influenced by the material world, but it's influenced primarily by the spiritual world, then yeah, probably Cancer becomes very spiritually attuned. So like with you having this first house, it's like, yeah, those energies I just talked about, it's a great value for you to apply and understand them. You feel what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to your personal life. And it's like the more you can tap into the familial energy, the more you can tap into your emotions, the more you can tap into like your mystical abilities, the better in turn your life will become. Like the more you can nourish yourself but also nourish others, the better your personal life will become. You feel me? And so now let's look at the second house. So the second house is in Leo and it's ruled by the sun. So ultimately, with your second house being in Leo and being ruled by the sun, you are the type who a lot of attention is brought to the possessions, the values, the money that you have. You feel me? And so Leo deals with the will. Its thought train is I will, and its thought series is will. Period. And so like with you having hold on, sorry, I kind of looked at. And so like with you having Leo in the second house, you're not meant to work for someone per se. You're meant to be an entrepreneur. You feel me? You're meant to do your own thing, pursue your own goals and things like that. You feel what I'm saying? Pardon me. You feel what I'm saying? So with the second house being in Leo, this can even play out as seeing your possessions and your values as an extension of you, or maybe just seeing yourself and your identity as something that's very valuable. You feel me? Because the second house is the house of values, possessions, things like that. And Leo deals with the identity also. It also deals with the willpower, and it deals with literal executive abilities. So these are all things that you probably have instilled within you. You feel me? In the sense that like Leo is going to make you value more so people that are direct and more blunt. You feel me? People that don't really like have or hide their intentions, but they're straight up. Because it's very Leo energy. It's executive energy. You feel me? But also like leaders are things that you value. It's like these are things that you may value outside of you, but you may value your ability to lead as well. You know what I'm saying? But also creativity, and creative expression become of great values, and these are things like skills and tools internal of you that you may value. Your ability to be creative, your ability to express yourself. And Leo, furthermore, is also a sign that deals with sex and sexuality. You feel me? So, but in general, Leo deals with creativity. So, rather than saying sex may be something you value, to be more general, creativity is something that becomes of great value. You feel what I'm saying? And like Leo also deals with the offspring. Not Leo, the fifth house deals with the offspring. But yeah, so it's pretty much the second house. It's ruled by Leo. And so your third house is going to be ruled by Mercury. And so with your third house being ruled by Mercury, this is cool. In the sense that the third house, so the third house is a house, that deals with the mind. It deals with the environment in general also. Mercury rules your third and your 12th house. So it rules the mind. This is the third house. The third house deals with the environment, both the physical environment around you, but also the internal environment dealing with the mind. So with Virgo being in the third house, this is an indication that one way or another, you're always surrounded by resources within your environment, you feel me? And there's always there's always possibly been people that came to your support and your guide in the environment, But this is also an indication that you may not be like the type who interacts with people, but you more like to observe. Like you are, of course you will, but it's like first, before that, you like to sit down and observe and be quiet, and so at the same time, this also what takes place in the mind, very analytical. And so negatively, this can play out as you being bombarded and overtaken by your thoughts, you feel me? Bombarded and overtaken by your thoughts. God dang. In the sense that Virgo is a very analytical sign. And it's like when you become too analytical and you focus on the detail too much, then it's like there's always something to be negative about, you know. If you pay attention enough, there's always something to be negative about. You feel me? But that's like the third house in Virgo, you know. These are also individuals who have practical skills, you know, like an ability and having an awareness and understanding of like what to do, you know, to attain resources, having an ability to know how to create a plan, you feel me? Things like that with the 11th, with the, you feel me? And it can even be that you may not be like this, but it's like the people you attract, the friends you have, they may be Virgo-like, you know, they may like to help you ground yourself and get your stuff together, you know, your things together, you feel me? But yeah, you know, so with Mercury ruling over the third house, it's like if you were to get into meditation and learning how to silence your mind, like you would probably benefit from that most definitely. But considering you have a good amount of like fire in your chart, you may struggle with just sitting down doing nothing. And so visualization meditations that can fit your type, you know, because the vision is the fire, you feel me? The sight is the flame, you know, without the vision. Without fire we cannot see, without the light we cannot see, you know what I'm saying? In the sun, it's actually a flame. Even though it's not really a flame, it's a ball that's, you know, an exploding ball of hydrogen and X, Y, and Z. Its element is fire, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, the sun is the result of this physical. What I mean by that is, without the sun's light, we would not be in this world. We'd be in darkness, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, you know, yeah. So, but yeah, you know, so that's the visual exercises. But like doing things like dancing, you know, getting into trance through dancing and moving your body would be of great value for you to tap into calming the mind. Or like even doing painting, you know, but straight up just sitting down and meditating probably is something that would benefit, you know. But yeah, you know, so that's the third house. Now let's look at the fourth. Okay, so not bad, not the fourth house. Let's look at the 12th house. So with your 12th house being ruled by Mercury as well, that's an indication that a bridge is manifested. You feel me? When I say a bridge, I mean a bridge between like your physical and spiritual, you know. But it's more like, because Gemini is that's where your 12th house is. Because Gemini is a sign that deals, you know, with like, it deals with communication, and it's known as the messenger. And within the 12th house, this is like messages from the Most High, you feel what I'm saying? Being a, one way or another, maybe like a preacher even, you know, someone who distributes higher knowledge and higher awareness and understanding to the community, to the collective, you feel what I'm saying? With Gemini being here. Like Gemini is also a sign that deals with commerce and sales, you know, in business. So it's like, you may even take your spiritual abilities, like you give out Bruja vibes, you feel me? Like your ability to be a Bruja, like you may take that and, you know, make it into a business, you know, and help people do that with it. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, so also let's continue. So now Venus, you know, you have Venus ruling over 4th and the 11th house. So Venus ruling over the 4th house is an indication that, like, okay, so Venus rules over the 4th house. Virgo, Libra, okay, so it's Libra, Venus, Libra. Okay, so you have Libra, right? Libra is in Taurus. Sorry, I really need to check before I start to talk about Libra. Yes, Libra. Yeah, Libra is in your fourth house. Right, correct. So, with Libra being in your fourth house, this indicates that a balance is manifested when it comes to the familial life. Libra is the sign of balance, and sometimes it can play out as like source spirit guiding you towards balancing the family life. But I feel like Venus ruling over the fourth house is just an indication that there is a symbiosis within the family, in the sense that the family is not separated, but it's like they have a mutual. What the heck, man? Hold on, I really need to check. Oh yeah, there you are. Okay, I need to check before I speak. Libra. Yeah, Libra is in the fourth house. Yeah, Libra is in the fourth house. Oh damn. My bad. I don't know why, but for some reason I put your sun is in the fourth house. Your sun is not in the fourth house. Your sun is in the ninth house. Your sun is in the ninth house. Is this the right chart that I'm looking at? Oh crap! No, it's not the right chart I'm looking at. Hold on. Okay, so, okay, yeah, no, not ninth house, fourth house. Yeah, not fourth house, ninth house. So, yeah, your sun being in the ninth house, you're actually a very philosophical individual. And actually, with your sun being in the ninth house, you're more of a person who, I'm gonna have to go look back at your chart before I'm saying. What the heck? I'm gonna have to go look back at the reading I did for you previously, though, for real. So, yeah, but no, this is accurate, though. The rulership of your planets are accurate, though. I see. Okay, I know. I got it right. That's good. I was concerned for a little bit, but yeah. So fourth house in Libra, it's an indication that, you have your moon in Capricorn, in the sixth house. So you're a workaholic. You may, when things get hectic in the household, you may find yourself directed towards work before anything and everything. Is what I'm saying. But anyways, as I was saying though earlier, yeah, with the moon being in Capricorn in the fourth house, in all reality, family isn't as powerful as I was portraying it to be. With the Capricorn and the moon, this is like being stabbed. Like being stabbed in the back by family, in the sense that when the moon goes into Capricorn, love isn't received the way it should be, in the sense that when the moon is in Capricorn, the family may just want to use you and then discard you, but only uphold you of value according to what you can give to them, before I'm saying. And so that will create discordant energies within a child. And so with the moon being, with the fourth house being in Libra, yeah, I feel like it's more an indication of balance, bringing balance into the family life more than anything else. And not just allowing things to be like the way that they are and being like, oh well, it is what it is, but actually making an effort, taking an executive ability to take it upon yourself to bring balance to the familial life, is what I'm saying. Yeah, and then the 11th house is in Taurus. So if you're having your 11th house in Taurus, it's an indication that like you attract and you draw to you, because the 11th house deals with networks and connections and people. But the 11th house is the least personal house of association. So these are associations that deal with business. These are associations that deal with relatives, not past relatives, but distant relatives. These are associations that deal with even your hopes and your aspirations. Because your hopes and your aspirations may seem far away, but they seem like they're at reach if you try. But anyways, so like, yeah, with the 11th house being in Taurus, the sign that deals with value and possessions, it indicates that the type of people that you attract into your life, bring value to you. But it's like Taurus is a material sign, you feel me? It's an earth sign. So a lot of these values that you benefit from through your network deal more so with the material plane, and it does make a lot of sense as well, considering you have like your moon in Capricorn in the 6th house, you feel what I'm saying? And yeah, that energy right there most definitely is going to create an imbalance as well between like the work life and the family life, you feel me? I'm pretty sure I already talked about this in your first reading, so let's continue looking at the houses. Yeah, okay. I feel like with this also, like, and this is more intuitive than anything, I feel like you would probably benefit from looking into like, because the 11th house, although the 9th house more deals with advertisement, the 11th house deals with bringing things to the public, the market, you feel me? And Taurus is a sign that deals with aesthetics, it deals with the beauty industry, it also deals with fashion and all these different things. So looking at this, you probably would benefit from bringing to the market, some form of aesthetic or some form of thing related to beauty. But furthermore, Taurus also deals with music, so maybe you're musical, and maybe that's one thing that you recognize. But yes, that's the Venus. Venus is ruling your 4th and your 11th house. So now we look at Mars. So you have Mars ruling over your 5th and your 10th house. So with Mars ruling over your 5th house, so Mars, well, the 5th house. So the 5th house is a house, it deals with offsprings, it also deals with like the dating life, it deals with sex as well, but it also deals with entertainment, you know what I'm saying? And like, if you think about it, it rules offsprings, but it also rules sex in a sense. Because the 8th house also deals with sex, the 12th house also deals with sex, but they deal with sex from different angles, you know what I'm saying? The 5th house is more just fun, right? It's the sign, it's the house that's ruled by Leo. When you think of Leo, you think parties, things like that. So anyways, yeah, so that's like, okay, so with Mars being in the 5th house, first and foremost, Mars ruling over the 5th house, this can indicate that, because Mars is the planet of strife, hardship, it deals with fighting. It's the planet of war, aggression, anger, X, Y, and Z, you feel what I'm saying? And so, like with Mars ruling over the 5th house, and it makes a lot of sense because you have your moon in Capricorn as well. Mars ruling over the 5th house, like your offsprings, your children can become opposing towards you, you feel me? And they can become or be perceived more so as enemies than anything else. And it's like with the moon in Capricorn, as we discussed earlier, emotional nourishment wasn't completely there in the upbringing. And because of that, because you weren't emotionally nourished, then when you and of yourself had children, you may have lacked emotionally nourishing them. But Capricorn is an earth sign, so there are great odds that you covered them materially, but because you never really showed them that you were there for them emotionally, they may have created internal energies within them that later went on to express as like them opposing you or them perceiving you as an enemy. So that's like the Mars ruling over the 5th house, you feel what I'm saying? But yeah, so like with your moon being in Capricorn, like you would benefit from, holy crap, you have your ascendant in Cancer, yo. But anyways, we can still say that. Wait, is your ascendant in Cancer? Your ascendant is in Cancer, yes, I'm tripping. Yeah, like with your ascendant in Cancer, your moon is not in the 7th house, it's in the 6th house. But yeah, like you would benefit from like channeling more of that Cancerian energy, especially when it comes to like your perception of the domestic life, you feel me? Because with the moon being in Capricorn, the domestic life is not going to be pretty, but it's like maybe bringing emotional understanding, you feel me, to the department of life that deals with. Because it's like Capricorn can be serious, and it's of this world, so it doesn't really play games, and it may not be loving, caring, and nurturing like that. And so what I mean when I say, it's like I'm pretty sure that some crazy shit happened, but it's like you should put those things to the side and bring like love unconditionally regardless, you feel me? Because at the end of the day, like children do need love, it nourishes them and it sustains them. And that Aries energy too. But anyways, let's continue. So yeah, that's your Mars, 5th house. So your Mars also rules your 10th house. So with Mars ruling your 10th house, this only reaffirms your executive abilities and what I mean by this is that we talked about how because you have your 2nd house in Leo, primarily you would benefit from. So the Leo is the identity, you feel me? But Leo is also the will. And the 2nd house is the house of value, possessions, and money. And so we explain how money becomes something that a lot of attention is brought forward to because the sun is ruling over the house of money. And so it's like with money becoming a primary focus, it's like interestingly enough though, like you have your moon in Capricorn, and so Capricorn is a sign that more deals with like the corporate world, and like climbing the corporate ladder, you know what I'm saying. But you have your work houses, the trinity of wealth, which is the 2nd, the 6th, and the 10th house, all in fire signs. So yeah, you would more so benefit from fixing your mind on that career which it is that you desire, that status which it is that you desire, and then going on to work hard at it until you finally get there. That's what Mars is always going to represent. Mars is always going to represent strife and hard work and perseverance and persistence. And with Mars being in the 10th, Mars ruling over the 10th house, it's like you're going to be recognized and noticed for overcoming something, from rising above, the obstacle and saying, F the BS, I'm not going to stand down even though they wanted me to, you feel what I'm saying? That's very much the Mars energy. Man, that shit is crazy. And you have that moon in Capricorn, which is going to bring a lot of pressure, a lot of mental pressure to you. So, Saturn also deals with pressure. Saturn deals with restrictions, limitations, hardships. It's karma as well. So with your moon being in Capricorn, it's like a lot of the stuff, a lot of the life experiences that you're having, even if they may seem to be dark, they are karmic, And as we mentioned earlier, the family. Yo, I wonder why. Because you know how when I first calculated your birth chart, I got the time wrong, and it because this chart right here, it talks about family, and it portrays that you're good and you're close with your family. What the heck? But this is the wrong chart. Then the other chart, which is the right chart, is like, nah. Like, nah, man. Family, when it comes to that energy, it's harsh. And then you got the Mars and Jupiter and Gemini in the 11th house. So this makes you a type of person who's more for like the public, you're more in the field of the public and working with the people and servicing the people. And like I said earlier, an imbalance happens between like the home life and the work life, and you will need to find. So that's probably what your fourth house being in Libra is indicating. Finding the balance between work life and family life. But anyways, let's continue. So that's pretty much your Mars. It rules over the 5th and the 10th house. Now let's look at Jupiter. So you have Jupiter ruling over your 6th and your 9th house. So first and foremost, Jupiter is a planet that deals with expansion. It is a benefic planet. So Venus and Jupiter, Venus, Jupiter, and the Moon, I think these are the 3 benefic planets, you feel me? All 3 of these planets give to us, they help us, they uplift us. Meanwhile, Saturn and Mars specifically, Saturn, Mars, and Pluto are malefic planets. They partake from us and they give us hardships and trials and tribulations, for what I'm saying. So with Jupiter ruling over your 6th house, it's an indication that hold on, let me look. With Jupiter ruling over your 6th house, it's an indication that in your work life, Source, Spirit will make sure that you are abundantly blessed. For what I'm saying, it's and that you will experience more optimistic energy, more positivity, more of the good side of life when it comes to the work life. When it comes to the work life, the work life, you feel me? And so with the 6th house being ruled by Jupiter, it's like your work may ask that you travel around, or the things that you need to do in work may be, philosophical or dealing with the higher mind, you feel what I'm saying? Because that's what Sagittarius deals with. Or your work life may ask that you have comprehension of certain knowledge systems and etc. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, so it's pretty much like the 6th house. And with the 6th house being in Sagittarius, this type of energy, Sagittarius is not like being told what to do. It likes to tell people what to do. And so with the 6th house, Mars being in Sagittarius, again, this reinforces this energy of this free nomad type energy who kind of wants to make money, doesn't want to be held down, is what I'm saying. Doesn't want to be held down. Yeah, but then it's like your moon in Capricorn in the 6th house is going to produce responsibilities in the work life. Interesting. But ultimately, yeah, it's Jupiter over your 6th house. No. Alright, so next is the 9th house. So the 9th house is a house, that deals with an individual's perception. And this is the house of philosophy, of religion. This is the house that deals with how you see the world. And so with you having your Jupiter ruling over the 9th house to the sign Pisces, on one end, your perception, your philosophy deals a lot with love, an unconditional, universal love. You feel me? It can, because this is like the positive expression of it. Love and universal love, where it's like, you feel what I'm saying? Where it's like you where you see the whole earth as your family. You feel me? And when someone comes, you feel like the universe sent them your way. So, when the 9th house is in Pisces, these are the hippies. This can even be very hippie-like energy, perceiving reality from a hippie-like state, or from a perspective that's not grounded to this world. Because Pisces also deals with the dream world and the spirit world. So being more attuned to the spiritual world when it comes to your perceptions of life than anything else. You feel me? And so this can produce delusional energies, where it's like certain things you think are one way are actually not that way, and so that you're in a delusion. But at the same time, it can produce energies of the highest truth. And this is because Pisces is agape love, you feel me? It deals with unconditional universal love through Neptune, that is. And so this can also be a person who exalts themselves and has an ability to see things from a different angle, a different perspective, you feel me? But yeah, that's pretty much like the Pisces energy in the ninth house. Um, Having a lens of reality where it's like sometimes there may be rose-colored glasses, but even making your beliefs more real than reality. Like within this house, dogma can also manifest, and it's important to make sure that you check your facts first before what I'm saying. Like you check your beliefs and your perceptions, because it's like, look, Jupiter and Mercury are used to balance each other. Mercury deals with the mind, the intellect, logic, rationality, and thinking. Jupiter deals with optimism, doing things out of generosity. Like sometimes we are generous, but like we don't think about it. You know, and that's good for the most part. Sometimes you're optimistic, but it's blind optimism. Sometimes you are faithful, but it's blind faith. You feel me? And so when we are blindly faithful, when we are blindly optimistic, when we are blindly generous, then we can benefit and value from using the Mercury energy, you feel what I'm saying? Mercury. And so Mercury is a sign, that deals, the planet of the intellect, the logic, the thought, the rationality. And Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini. Virgo is I think, Virgo is I analyze, Gemini is I think. So sometimes, you may need to bring to awareness of like your perceptions of life, you feel me? And what are the underlying energies of this. So analyzing your perceptions on life and thinking about your perceptions on life will probably benefit, rather than just being up in the air. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I'm pretty sure for the most part it works for you. But like, there can be a balancing energy of this as well, what I'm saying, and that is bringing in that Mercury energy of thinking and rationalizing. And last but not least, your 7th and your 8th house. So your 7th house is ruled by Capricorn. That's what I'm saying. And so, your 7th house is in the sign Capricorn. Meanwhile, your 8th house is in the sign of Aries. That's what I'm saying. And so, your 7th house being ruled by Capricorn, the realm of relationships and love becomes hard. It becomes harsh. A lot of the people who you've gotten into relationships with, they were probably manipulative, deceptive, selfish, and they really had their own self-interests at heart, and they saw you as an opportunity to get to something they wanted. You know what I'm saying? And this is like, because Capricorn is it's effed up. You feel me? It's Saturn. It's Satan. So it's fucked up energy, man. It's fucked up energy for real. But it's like, that's your 7th house in Capricorn. And this energy produces like a brokenness, a brokenheartedness, where it's like through perseverance and through time, you will at last arrive to the relationship that you asked for and you desired. But it's like, Capricorn, it asks that you build, you feel me? This is what Capricorn is all about. It's like you don't allow your past to define you, but you utilize your past experiences with these maleficent partners to create a better relationship, you feel what I'm saying? But it's like with the 7th house in Capricorn, because Capricorn is also a very reserved sign, you feel what I'm saying? It's like, it's like you may have a wall built around your heart, but it's like there's a saying, right? That wall you have built to protect you from negative energy is also not allowing positive energy to come in. And so love is always going to be a gamble, right? And sometimes you gotta roll the dice, you feel what I'm saying? But ultimately, with the 7th house in Capricorn, there can be a fear that manifests of getting into a partnership, because Cancer is a very vulnerable sign, you feel me? And Aries is a very vulnerable sign, but a lot of the times Aries are afraid to be vulnerable, so their vulnerability translates into aggression. It looks as aggression. They're aggressive, but it's like Aries is really the lamb, you feel me? It's really this little sheep, this baby sheep, but Aries manifests the ram, to protect itself. You feel what I'm saying? And but yeah, you feel what I'm saying? So it's like, also with the 7th house in Capricorn, like you would benefit from um, anchoring yourself in practicality when it comes to relationships. So what this means is learning about, like I know that Tony Robbins has a course on relationships, so like going and researching and reading Tony Robbins stuff, would be a benefit to you. You feel what I'm saying? But furthermore, let's look into the 8th house. So the 8th house, right, is a karmic house. It deals with those things that are in a sense hidden. You feel what I'm saying? And it also deals with like, it deals with legacies. It deals with death. It deals with inheritances. So first and foremost, with the 8th house being Aquarius, it's an indication that your inheritance was more so intellectual than anything else. Like you may have inherited a grandiose amount of knowledge and information, and this knowledge and information didn't even have to come from your like your physical ancestors, and it could have came from your physical ancestors from way back in the line. You feel what I'm saying? But this can also be just spiritual ancestors, giving to you knowledge and wisdom, that being your inheritance. But ultimately, when the 8th house is in Aquarius, this can also produce enemy energies, people hating on you for no apparent reason, like you just moving and you wanting to like love and like, because the 8th, because Aquarius is a sign, that deals with humanitarian energies. And so it's like you may find that at times when you go out and you want to help and you want to do the right thing, people may not receive you the way you would hope they would, Aquarius also deals with strangers. So it's like sometimes strangers may even send like malice energy your way. You feel what I'm saying? But ultimately though, the 8th house also deals with a spiritual network. Well, at least when it's in Aquarius. So the negative aside, Aquarius is a sign that deals with occult knowledge and wisdom. And so with you having the 8th house in Aquarius, this is an indication that the depths of your occult knowledge and understanding are deep, but they don't have physical origins. You feel what I'm saying? Like your deep awareness of magic, for example, you feel what I'm saying? And like the occult arts, you feel me? Like these are penetrative into your being, like your DNA, you feel me? Like the 8, you feel me, is the DNA, you feel what I'm saying? And it's like there is a grandiose community there for you that deals and is within the spiritual plane. You feel what I'm saying? You have a huge spiritual family. And it's like a lot of the time, this is how it plays out with us individuals who don't experience the family energy in our real life. It's like we don't experience the family energy in our real life, but it's like in our spiritual life, they're there. It's interesting because with certain things, it's always going to be backwards. In this world, it's like people that have a lot of money are going to be spiritually broke a lot of the times. And I love money, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just giving an example, People who prosper themselves through material treasures find that they are lacking spiritual wealth, you feel what I'm saying? And that's backwards right there, right? Being materially successful but then spiritually degraded. But it's the same thing with the family. Like in this world, you feel like you're alone, you're isolated, but then in the spiritual plane, you have like all these ancestors and all these, family that, you feel what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I very much see that for you with the 8th house in Aquarius. But yeah, I want to most definitely 100% thank you for your patience and also for choosing to work with me and supporting my business, you feel what I'm saying? And yeah, I hope that I did a good job. I would most definitely love to hear your thoughts on this reading, what you thought, if it resonated, if it didn't, you feel what I'm saying? And, if you know anybody, who is interested in, getting their birth chart decoded and read, then you can definitely send them my way. And yeah, we'll go from there. Peace, my friend. Peace.